And before we touch this slide, I want everybody to go to the polling area. Okay. So firstly, go to the polling area. First question is just something that I need to know. Are you annotating in the booklets? So the booklets, I've got a lot of space there. And it would really help you to annotate on there and then periodically revisit those booklets as well. MashaAllah, loads of people saying they annotate on those, and that's good, MashaAllah. So keep annotating on them because it really, really does help, especially as you move forward and then you want to check back on things. So we're going to go to the second one now. Does this look like a correct sentence? Just put a yes or a no for me, please. So we're on number 2 in our polling. Number 2, loads of sentences here we're going to go through. Does it look like it's a correct sentence? Okay, we've got 3 votes for no. So we've got the word najmun and al-ba'idu. Najmun al-ba'idu. The sentence is trying to say that the star is far. So all the votes so far have come correctly. You're on no, so it is not correct. This is not the correct form of the sentence. What about the next one? Jadidun and ad-daftaru. Jadidun and ad-daftaru. Does this look correct? Jadidun and ad-daftaru. Again, we got jadidun ad-daftaru. I think we're trying to say the book is, sorry, the exercise book is new. So far we're on 2-2. Votes are on yes and no is 2-2. Think carefully about this one, and then cast your votes. MashaAllah, the first one was correct. Everyone was saying was no. Second one, we're kind of split now. Give this a think. We're trying to say the exercise book is new. We're on 4-4 at the moment. Okay, interesting. Let's move to the next one. At-tajiru ghaniyun. At-tajiru ghaniyun. Does that seem correct? Is that a correct sentence? I think we're trying to say that the merchant is rich. Okay, all the votes here saying yes so far. Fantastic. The next one, at-talibu maridatun. At-talibu maridatun. Is this a correct sentence? Yes or no? Okay, so votes are coming in for no right now. At-talibu maridatun. Okay. So 3 votes for no, and then everyone's gone stopping there. 6 votes for no, 1 vote for yes. Okay, let's have a look at some of these answers now. All of these sentences so far that we looked at, so going from najmun and al-ba'idu, which everyone said was wrong, then we've got jadidun ad-daftaru, which most have said it's wrong, but 2 people have said it's correct. At-tajiru ghaniyun, at-talibu maridatun, most people again have said no for that one. 1 person has said yes, it's correct. These sentences that we've looked at so far, they all contain 2 words. Now we're going to delve into a bit of the grammar here. Can you guys just let me know on the chat area, have you guys seen chapter 11? Now chapter 11 in the book is very, very small. It's tiny, okay? So this is chapter, in ours it's 11a, and that deals with what the book says. And then 11b, 11c, 11d, that is all extras that we have thrown in at this stage. So who has been over lessons 11b, 11c, 11d? Or even started 11b for that matter. If you can just put that in the chat area that you have started that, please. If you haven't, it's not a problem, don't worry. But if you have, it'd just be good to know. Okay, well done, Saisha. Anybody else looked at 11 up to now? Mahbub, not yet. Okay. It's not a problem if you haven't. So this is more as a recap for you guys. It would be good. I mean, today, we're still getting it back into the groove of things, so it's not an issue right now. But from next week, we want to try and stay on track. So we want to try and cover 1 week's work together. So what I want you guys to try and do is by next week, I want you guys to finish off everything that we finish off on the website of week 7, and then week 8 and week 9. So the assessment work that you need to do, I want you to try and do that over the weekend if you can, because the assessment is really, really easy. Any questions, please just fire them at me. And then the rest of the week, I want you to try and get ahead of the game so that these sessions that we're using right now, they're used more as a recap rather than a starter tool. It'd make it a bit easier for you if you do it that way. So that when we try to explore something new, or a bit more or a little bit, we won't go into things too difficult, but if we try to throw something new in, then you can grasp that. There's not too much information in one go down here. Okay, so it would work better as a recap tool, although you can use it as a starter tool. There's no harm in doing that. And we inshallah will try and cater for both groups, so don't worry about that. Now, similar to sentences we've seen, we've got this one here, al-qalamu maksurun. There's 2 parts to the sentence, and there's only 2 words here as well. So the first word of the sentence is called al-mubtada. The first word or the first part is called al-mubtada, and the second word or the second part is called al-khabar. Al-mubtada literally means something that you start with, and al-khabar means information. So the first part of the sentence is what you start with. You're talking about something. and then after that you're saying something about it, you're giving some information. So the pen, what about it? It's broken. So that's the simplest way to understand mubtada and khabar. But remember, mubtada and khabar, it doesn't only have to have two words. So as you've seen, as we move on, sentences have more than two words. So we get two-word sentences to begin with right at the start of the book, and we saw loads of them. So even from revisiting right from the first chapter, هذا بيت, هذا مسجد, هذا قميص, ذلك كرسي, okay, ذلك نجم, and then going to the feminine words, تلك مدرسة, and then even then we had, so these were with هذا, ذلك, and تلك. And then we also had sentences starting with Aliflam, Al-Qalamu Maksurun, Al-Babu Maftuhun, and those kind of sentences. Okay. So we've seen several different types of sentences, but we've seen a lot of two-word sentences. So the first word is Mubtada, the second word is Al-Khabar, and Al-Qalam means the pen, Maksurun means broken, but when we do the sentence together, we say the pen is broken. So the reason why we say is, and we've always used this shortcut rule, and we've said that the word, the tanween, maksurun, the tanween gives the translation is a. It's not entirely false, but it is a trick rule. And the reason why you're saying is down here is because it's al-khabar. Okay, so that's the reason why. So sometimes you can have two words which form a sentence, and sometimes you have several words which form the first part of the sentence and several words which form the second part of the sentence. The first part of the sentence will be called al-mubtada, and the second part of the sentence will be called al-khabar. So regardless how many words are involved, the first part is al-mubtada, the second part is al-khabar. Okay, and if you remember, actually, let me not bring that right now. Let's just go through these bullet points. So next one, al-ma'u baridun. Okay, the water is cold. So for the sentence to be complete, it requires both parts, al-mubtada and al-khabar. Both parts are needed. If we have just al-mubtada, if we just said al-qalamu or al-babu, or let's throw in a bit more, هذا القلم, this pen, هذا الباب, this door, ذلك الماء, that water. Now we've got the mubtada, we know we're talking about this door or this pen, but we haven't got any information about it. So we need something which is the khabar. Okay, we need something which gives us information. So we've already seen those kind of words where we say al-babu maftuhun, the door is open. And if we said hadha before it, hadha al-babu maftuhun, not the door is open, but this door is open. Hadha al-babu, this door. Take away maftuhun and with sentence is incomplete. Hadha al-ma'u baridun. Take away baridun and the sentence is incomplete. So what we want is we need both parts, not necessarily two words, but both parts, mubtada and khabar, to be there to complete the sentence. Does that make sense so far? Just give me a yes, guys. And anybody who's stuck on that, just tell me, and inshallah, I'll attempt it once more. If anyone's stuck with that, just let me know. Don't feel you leave the class behind. I'll mention it once more, and then if there is anything more to mention, then I will do that privately as well, inshallah. Okay, so we know what mubtada is, we know what khabar is, we know mubtada comes at the start, we know khabar gives the information, and none of this is mentioned in the book because the book takes a very simplistic approach. What we do in this course is we've actually, it's like a hybrid of a modern approach with a what's it called? What's the right word for it? Traditional approach. A modern approach and traditional approach. Put them both together and get the best of both systems, and that's what we're trying to do. That's why we bring it in at this stage. And an uncle of mine who looked at this course, and he said to me, he goes, Muhammad, he just looked at lesson 1 and I think lesson 2. And he looked and he said to me, I like the fact that you've not put grammar in there. And I said, no, grammar is in there. Grammar is like the main part of Arabic as well, right? It's really important to have grammar. But we just put it in periodically, and as somebody can handle it, we start putting it in then. So we don't throw in too much. So this was the ideal point in this book that we thought it would be to bring this book. So before we start getting into more structures of sentences, which are now going to require further explanation, we want to just cover some grammar. And then that you can even take back right from lesson 1, as I'll show you, inshallah, over the course of this lesson. Now, sometimes we'll put two sentences together, and it will be joined with a wow. So we've got at-talibu jalisun, that's actually one sentence, the student is sitting. Wal mudarrisu waqifun, and the teacher is sitting. So two sentences, two individual sentences, and we just join them up with a wow, which means and. And you will see loads of these. You will have seen loads of these here in chapter 11. So hadha bayti, one sentence, bayti amam al masjid, just no wow here. So if you look, we've got full stops. Okay, full stops don't really appear in Arabic, but at a big, at this kind of level, we put them in so that everyone can see. Even question marks don't come in Arabic, because the reason why they don't come is there are special structures. So you should understand as you're reading where the full stop is. Okay, and you should understand from reading where question mark will come. So that will come over time. But at an elementary stage, we put those full stops and question marks in. But in Arabic, really, they don't exist. Okay, and so there's special words and special structures which you will see as you learn the language. So this is one sentence. Hada bayti amam al masjid. A second sentence. Here's a third one. Here's a fourth one. Here's another one. Even this is another one. Fiha nafidatun kabiratun. Wa mirwahatun jamilatun is not actually another sentence. Okay, it's got split with a wow. Yes, a bit more technical details there, but it's not really a second sentence. It's just shortening it down. So you could have said it a long way and said fiha nafidatun kabiratun. It has a small window. It has a big window. Wa mirwahatun jamilatun. Or you could have said wa fiha mirwahatun jamilatun, and it has a small window. So you know why we use and in English, same way it's being used in Arabic down here. So this wasn't just, sorry to throw that in, it's not two sentences as such there. That's something slightly different. Then here we've got another sentence, hada sariri. Here's another sentence, wahada kursi, split with a wow. Wahada maktabi, again another sentence split with a wow. Okay, moving back here. Okay, now we've also seen aliflam come on words before. Okay, now this has a lot to do with mubtada and khabar. Aliflam coming and aliflam not coming, that has a lot to do with mubtada khabar. We've seen that when aliflam comes on a word, then there's no tanween left. Instead of kitabun, we pray al-kitabu, and it doesn't mean a book, it means the book. And kitabun with a tanween it allows a tanween, so it's not one dhamma, it's going to have two dhammas, and it doesn't mean the book, it means a book. So until there we know what's going on. Okay, but now a word, another term we have to learn is ma'rifa. A word is generally known as ma'rifa when it has an alif lam before it, which makes the word specific. So ma'rifa means specific. When something is specific, it's ma'rifa. And how do you make something specific? There are several ways. One of the ways that we have seen so far in the book is when we add an alif lam. So when we add an alif lam, then that word is now ma'rifa. If we leave it, if we don't put an alif lam, then that is one of the ways of knowing that the word is nakira. So a word is generally known as nakira when it does not have an alif lam before it. So the word nakira means not specific. Okay, so ma'rifa means specific and nakira means not specific. And this is the crucial point here. Why the talk about alif lam and no alif lam and the tanween and no tanween? Because the mubtada is usually going to be ma'rifa and the khabar is nakira. The mubtada is ma'rifa, the khabar is nakira. So look here, al-himaru saghirun. The donkey is small. Al-himaru, the donkey, that's the mubtada, it's got alif lam. Saghirun is small, that's the khabar, and it's nakira. So is small, because of the tanween, we could say that gives a meaning. It's a trick rule, but it's more because it's the khabar, it's the information. There's not really a word, if you really look at it properly, there's not really a word for is in Arabic. That the word is comes because of the context and because this is actually the khabar. But our cheat rule actually works in a lot of places. The tanween, which shows you it's the khabar, right, is giving the translation of is, because it shows you it's a khabar, because it's nakira, because it's not specific. Okay, so those are like some words that you need to start picking up right now to help you sort of get into the other words. So we've got ma'rifa, nakira. Ma'rifa when it's specific, nakira not specific. The sign for ma'rifa is alif lam, the sign for nakira is no alif lam. And now I want you to go back to the poll area, okay, where you got question 2. Now, if we look at this one, najmun and al-ba'idu, now you're able to spot there that the word najmun is the mubtada. It's in the right order. We want to say the star is far. So we can't say najmun, we have to say an-najmu. And we won't say al-ba'idu because that's the khabar. So it needs to be nakira. No alif lam should be there. And we should have a tanween. So an-najmu ba'idun would be the right sentence. In the next one, jadidun and ad-daftaru, that's actually the wrong way around. We should have had ad-daftaru first. The mubtada comes first. Jadidun comes after. So it's not a correct sentence. The next one, at-tajiru ghaniyun, that is a correct sentence. Because everything's fine there. The mubtada is ma'rifah, the khabar is nakira. Everyone was pointing that out, was correct. And the next one, at-talibu maridatun, it should be saying the student is ill, but what type of student? Is it a male student or a female student? Well, a talibu is a male student, so we shouldn't have the word maridatun. We should have had the word maridun. Okay, so that's another fact which hasn't been mentioned here right now, but we have seen this before, that we use masculine words for other masculine words and feminine words for feminine words, right? So they have to pair up and link together. Now, if we look at the next one, the last one here, at-tufahu ladidun. The apple is tasty. That's what we're trying to say. Is this correct? Yes or no? Does it meet all the criteria of mubtada khabar? Yes or no? So you can read through the slide in front of you if you want to, and then give that an answer while I just have a bit of water. So we've got 3 votes for yes. It seems correct. Anybody else want to put your votes, please? Okay, so mashallah, the votes are coming towards yes. Everybody's voting yes, that it is a correct sentence. And yes, you are right. It is a correct form of a sentence. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Right. Moving on from here then. So this is really, really good progress, guys. This is fantastic progress. Okay. Because you're understanding all of this. Now, again, this won't come in the assessment. Okay. Assessment only tests you to lesson 9. So this is not to worry about. And again, try to get ahead of this stuff. And try to get ahead of week 7 if you can as well by next week. So you might have to push yourselves a little bit this week and do a bit of overtime. And I apologize for that, but we're just trying to get into that momentum. If you can't do it by this week, and you're struggling with making up more time because you haven't got that time this week for X, Y, and Z reason, then that's fine. Use next week as a start as well, but work your way towards getting to a stage where you've covered the week's content before you come here. That would be the best case scenario. But if you can't, don't worry. It will still work for you. In fact, alhamdulillah, I'm not trying to propagate this, right? I'm not trying to say this is, and I'm not pushing you guys to do this. But we've actually got one student who is actually doing the Sunday group, and mashallah, he's not actually been on. He's not actually looked at all the video work. He's actually been coming only for the live sessions majority of the time. So he did up to about this stage. Lesson 11 stage, and after that he was only doing the live sessions once a week, and he still managed to pass with a merit, I think so, assessment number 2. So the live sessions are really good, mashallah. They do work. They are meeting the requirement that we have, right, and they're reaching the success criteria that we want it to reach. But I would definitely say to you that this is not what you want to do, and you don't want to confine yourself to only coming to the live sessions. You want to really make use of those videos because they have everything in there properly, mashallah, and they give you lots and lots of practice. So you really do want to make the time. The more time you make for this, guys, the more better it will be, the more solid your foundation will be. So I'm not rooting for you to do this, but there may be, what I'm trying to point out is there may be weeks where you've had a tough week, you've not been able to work. Whatever you do, don't leave the live session. The live session is the lifeblood of this, right? It really does help. Just as our one-to-one support is like part of the lifeblood of this, similarly, the live session really does help, mashallah. So please don't ever leave that. Come here regardless of what you've done over the week. But having said that, try to get it to a stage where this is more a recap, and then you will benefit from this much, much more, inshallah.